Hello, I'm going to talk about the critical analysis process and the creative process of the song I just played. Is There Anybody Out There by Pink Floyd? My initial reaction, which is the first step of the critical analysis process, was in the context of the album, this song it just completely blows me away because most of the album up until that point was like polyphonic. It was there was guitars, distorted guitars, acoustic guitars, bass guitars, drums, vocals, and sometimes even piano. And then there's these crazy effects they added in like the studio as well, and there's all sorts of stuff. So there's many things going on all at the same time. That's what polyphonic means. But this song, there's just um, there's just the guitar and there's a symphony in the back, but the symphony is hard to hear until but you can hear it more a little later into the guitar solo. Um, so it's a lot more thin. I wouldn't say it's monophonic per se because there is that symphony in the background. Hard to hear though, but it's still there. But it's much more thin than everything else. So it kind of forces you to pay attention to it, and I thought that was really cool, and that drew me into the song. My analysis interpretation. Um, this entire album is really cool. It's like um, the the words are painting a thousand pictures. It's very descriptive. It's like a story, and this is just part of the story. And what I imagine. I don't without going too deep into it. I imagine the main character just sitting in like alone in his in the setting, which is called the wall, which is just a poetic way of saying his head. Um, just playing the song, playing this on the guitar, and just almost like crying for help because of how lonely he think he is inside of his own head. Um, that's what I think. Um, that's what I interpret is going on in the song. My consideration of cultural context. Culturally, especially at this time when the album came out, like in '79, there was a lot of movies sort of talking about like just the loneliness of a modern person, just especially despite of how many more billions of people there are on the planet, televisions and phones, and eventually after many years after the album, not even that long actually, not that long after the album, the internet came around. But still, people were really lonely. I mean, there's this movie, Taxi Driver, that talked about it, or filmed about it. I don't know how to describe that, but I think I think this song in particular is really talking about that because it shows the TV and everything in the beginning, and it's like despite having people around him, or even like people in a box, even just like in his house, we can just turn it off and on. He's still very lonely, and especially he's adult. There's no parents or anything, no support. It's just he's alone. He's alone and like with millions of people around him, but he's still alone. And another thing I wanted to point out is, I mean, if there's many people, there's less care or less what did I write down? There's less care to go around. So there's that, and I think that's what was being talked about here. Now this relates back to how I'm gonna play the song. Um, I want to play it solemnly. Like I want to make the song solemn. So I want the dynamics to be very clear. Nothing crazy, nothing wild. No like ooh, no crazy crescendos, decrescendos. Just and key point crazy. I mean they are in there is a decrescendo at the end, and I put emphasis on the bass notes on the guitar, but I want to keep it just clear, nothing crazy. Just emphasis, little louder mezzo forte on the bass notes, and then a decrescendo at the end. But everything else is like it's clear. You can, I mean, like there's definitely a dynamic difference between bass notes and the treble notes. Then the other thing I wanted to do to make it sound more solemn was make the tempo at a moderato pace. Maybe I wouldn't play too slow, because I don't think that fits. What I was aiming for is I wanted to play like the album. So playing anything slower than the album, you could really tell. But I tried my best to avoid playing super fast, because the more fast it gets, the more it's so I mean, it doesn't get too jovial, because I mean it's based on the A minor chord, but it doesn't fit, you know. And that's so going through all that, that's how I expressed my aesthetic judgment on the song, using the critical analysis process.